Good day to each and every one of you. I am Saimona SIDEK from BSED-1B, and today I'm here to discuss language variation. But first, what is language variation? Language variation means people have different way of speaking even if they use the same language. Why? Because number 1, because where you're from can affect how you speak. Like, for example, me myself, I am from a province and our mother tongue is Iranon. And when I studied here in Cotabato, I needed to communicate with people in Tagalog because we cannot understand one another because their first language is Maguindanaon or Tagalog. So, when I speak Tagalog, it's different from the way they speak because of my pronunciation or na minsan or most of the time is parang matigas yung pagbigkas ko ng mga salita. So, that's one example of language variation because even if we speak the same language, I am still different from them because of my pronunciation. And number 2 is your social class, like rich or poor, educated or not, can affect your words or accent. We can highly observe naman the difference between those professionals and not because of the way they speak in the choices of words. And of course, the number 3 is the situation matters too. Like you speak more formally to a teacher or a stranger than to a friend. And number 4 is your own style. Each person has their own way of speaking, like using certain words or expressions a lot. Or parang normal lang sa kanila yung pasigaw magsalita kahit hindi naman sila nagagalit. So, in short, language changes depending on who you are, where you are, and who you're talking to. And that's language variation. This refers to differences in language based on geography. This means that the way people speak can change depending on where they live. Like, for example, British English versus American English. Both are English, but there are differences in accent, spelling, and words. Just like the given example here. Just take a look at our given example. So what changes? The pronunciation, how words are said, vocabulary, what words are used, and grammar, how sentences are formed. So language can sound different depending on the place, even if it's the same language. The second one is social variation or socialect. It refers to the differences in how people speak based on their social group, status, or class. So, people speak differently depending on their job, social standing, or the group they belong to. So, this type of language variation is called socialect. Like, for example, corporate professionals often speak in a formal and structural manner. For example, in a meeting, they say, "We need to optimize our strategy for better results." Meanwhile, teenagers usually speak more casually and use slang. Like for example, they will say, "That was so cringe what he did earlier." So you can see the difference between how the corporate professional and teenager express their opinions or how they say words. So even if they're using the same language, whether English or Tagalog, their style, vocabulary, and tone change depending on their social group. So that's what we call social variation or socialect. Okay, so the third one is registers. This refers to the way language changes depending on the situation, purpose, or who you're talking to. Like, we don't speak the same way all the time. The tone, words, and formality we use changes depending on the context, like where we are, who we're with, and why we're speaking. It's like, for example, in a job interview, you use formal language like, for example, um, good morning, I'm very interested in this position because blah blah blah. But with friends, you use informal language like, hey, what's up? I missed you. So, register, it's all about adjusting your language to fit the situation. The third one is dialect. So this refers to person's unique way of speaking, like their own personal version of language. Um, so each person speak differently based on their background, experiences, personality, and preferences. So this includes the words they often use, their accent, how they construct sentences, and even their tone. Like for example, have you noticed that some people always say like a lot in their sentences? Like for example, I was like so tired today. So another one might speak more formally all the time. Like for example, they'll say, I was extremely exhausted today. So even if two people speak the same language and come from the same place, their way of speaking still might be slightly different. That's what we call idiolect, a language style that's uniquely yours. Okay, so why does language vary? So language varies because people come from different backgrounds and live in different situations. So the way we speak is influenced by many factors, including region, social status, education level, occupation, age, gender, and social setting or context. So, region, people from different places have different accent, words, and expression. Like, for example, y'all in southern US versus you guys in other countries. So, the second one is social status. So, language can reflect a person's place in society. Like, for example, someone from a higher social class might use more formal or prestigious language. And the third one is education level. So, a person's vocabulary and sentences structure often depend on how much schooling they've had. Like, for example, a highly educated person might use technical or more academic terms. And the fourth one is occupation. So, different jobs have their own jargon or professional language. Like, for example, a lawyer and a gamer will use very different words at work. And the number five is age. So, teens and older adults often use different slang, phrases, and even tones. So, like for example, teens might say lit, while older people might not even know what the term is. So, the number six is gender. So sometimes speech patterns differ based on gender due to social expectation or habits. Like for example, studies show women may use more polite forms or expressive language in some culture. And number seven is, and the last one is setting or context. So we speak differently at work, at home, with friends, or doing formal events. Like for example, you talk more formally in an interview than when you are chatting or normally talking with your friends. So in short, language isn't fixed. It shapes depending on who we are, where we are, and the words we are choosing. And my second topic is language register. So, language register is a specific way of using language depending on the purpose, audience, and social setting. So, we change how we speak depending on the situation we're in and who we're talking to. So this is what we call language register. So it helps us to communicate appropriately by adjusting our vocabulary, tone, grammar, and style. So, like for example, talking to a teacher or boss, like for you'll say, "Good afternoon. May I ask a question about the project?" Which is formal register compared to talking to a normal or a close friend. You'll just say, "Hey, get a second. I want to ask you something about the project," which is informal register. So the register you use shows your role, your relationship with the person, and the context or the of the conversation. So registers are important because they guide how we should speak in different situations. So there are key features of language registers. So language registers, like what I've said a while ago, change depending on the situation and they differ in a several key ways. So the number one is tone. So tone is this is the level of formality in the way we speak or write. Like in formal tone, it is more polite, respectful, and structured. Like for example, you'll say, "I would like to request your assistance, please." So in informal tone or more casual and relaxed conversation, you'll just say, "Hey, can you help me out?" And the second one is vocabulary. So different registers use different types of words. Like in formal or professional registers, often use technical terms or jargons. Like for example, photosynthesis is the process by which plants convert light into energy. And in casual register, it uses more common or everyday words. Like for example, they'll just say plants make food from sunlight. And number three is grammar and syntax. So this refers to sentence structure. So formal registers use full complex sentences with correct grammar. Like for example, he has not arrived at the meeting yet. So informal or casual registers might include contractions, slang, or incomplete sentences. Like for example, they'll just say, "He's not here yet." So, mapapansin mo talaga yung pinagkaiba ng formal and informal. Informal, they use more correct grammar, full sentences. Meanwhile, in informal or casual registers, they'll just parang ini-express lang nila na he's not here yet compared to he has not arrived at the meeting yet. And number four is purpose. So the goal of communication also affects the register. So we use different registers to inform, persuade, and entertain or express feelings and carry out rituals like prayers or ceremonies. So like for example, a speech to pursue voters uses persuasive register while a conversation with friends is more expressive and casual. So, register guide us to use the right tone, words, and structure depending on our purpose, audience, and context. Okay, so frozen or static register is the most formal or fixed type of language. It doesn't change over time and is usually used in rituals, ceremonies, and formal traditions. So, this register uses set or memorized phrases that are repeatedly exactly the same every time. So, the language is often unchanging and the wording is carefully preserved because of its cultural, legal, or religious importance. Like, for example, in legal documents, um, Like for example, hereby I declare, or in witness whereof. So in religious texts, they say, Our Father who art in heaven. And in national anthems or oaths, they'll say, I pledge allegiance to the flag. So the K treats is it is very formal, unchanging or memorized wording, and used in serious or ceremonial context, and not used in everyday conversation. So in short, the frozen register is like language that's lacked in time. It's preserved and repeatedly exactly as it is. The next one is formal register. It is the type of language used in serious, professional, or official settings. So it follows strict rules of grammars and uses precise, often advanced vocabulary. So this register is appropriate when you need to sound respectful, objective, and clear, especially when addressing people you don't know well or situation that requires professionalism. So it where it's used like in speeches, when you speech in political or ceremonial and academic writing, like when you write in essays or in research papers and business reports and official documents. Like for example, the results of the study indicate a significant improvement in performance. Please be advised that the meeting has been rescheduled. So the K traits are: it is complete, grammatically correct sentences, no slang or contractions like say cannot instead of can't, and objective and respectful tone, and technical or subject specific vocabulary when needed. And so in short, the formal register is used to show respect, maintain professionalism, and ensure clarity, especially in structured or high stakes situation. And the next one is consultative register. It is a semi-formal type of language used in conversation where there's some level of respect or authority, but the communication is still two-way and interactive. So, this register is common in situation where one person has more knowledge of expertise, like a doctor, teacher, or counselor, but both people are involved in the conversation. So it's more relaxed than formal language but still polite and structured. So where it is used: between doctor and patient, between teacher and student, in job interviews, and in customer service. Like for example, doctor will say, "Can you describe the pain you're feeling?" And the student will answer, "I think I understand, but could you explain it again?" So the K traits are: it is polite and respectful tone, and may use some technical terms depending on the context, and it is complete sentences but not too stiff or overly formal, and it is interactive. Both sides ask and answer questions. So in short, the consultative register strikes a balance between formality and everyday conversation, making it ideal for respectful, professional exchanges that still feel natural. And the next one is casual register. It is the way people talk when they're with friends, family, or peers in informal, relaxed setting. So this register is very natural and spontaneous. People use everyday words, slang, and sometimes short or incomplete sentences. So the tone is friendly, easygoing, and conversational. So where it is used when talking to a friend, talking with friends, talking with or talking or chatting with family members, or in group conversation, or texting among peers. Traits are it is informal and in relaxed tone, and use of slang and colloquial expressions, and it is short, sometimes incomplete sentences, and lastly, it is friendly and more personal. So, in short, the casual register is how we naturally speak when we feel comfortable and don't need to be formal or polite when we're chatting with the people we are with. Okay, so the last one is intimate register. It is the most private and personal way of speaking, used only between people who are very close, like family members, partners, or best friends. So this register includes language full of inside jokes, pet, name, pet names, special terms, or even non-verbal cues. So that and even non-verbal cues that only the people involved fully understand. The tone is very familiar and affectionate. Like for example, the inside jokes between your friends na sometimes kayo lang yung nakakaintindihan, na the people around you are even confused kung bakit kayo nagtatawanan. So that's what we call intimate registers. Kasi kayo lang yung nakakaintindihan na mga taong ka-close mo, ng mga taong close sa'yo, like your family members, na minsan may sinasabi ka sa family mo na hindi naiintindihan ng iba kasi kayo lang yung nagkakaintindihan. Ganun rin sa mga friends mo, na sometimes may sinasabi kayo na kayo lang yung nagkakaintindihan at kayo lang din yung nagtatawanan. So, where intimate register, where it is used. It is used between spouses or our partners, like boyfriend, girlfriend, husband and wife, or our buddies, and also between close family members, like our parents, aunties, cousins, children, and siblings. And the last one is, of course, among our best friends. So, for example, is using nicknames like, "Hey babe, did you eat already?" Or inside jokes or secret codes that only only the two person or the people involved can get it. The K traits are it is very personal and private, uses special words or expressions only shared by the group, and affectionate, emotional tone, and lastly, sometimes includes gestures or looks instead of words. Like, di ba, sometimes you notice that in a group, or kapag may dalawang close na tao, is parang nagsisignal lang sila, pero nagkakaintindihan na sila without using words. They just use gestures. Like for example, you and your best friends, kapag nakita mo yung pet peeve niyong dalawa, is you'll just say, parang magsisignal ka lang na, para tas magkakaintindihan na kayo. So, in short, the intimate register is a special way of communicating that builds and shows close emotional bonds. So there are factors affecting register choice. So the way we speak, which is our register, depends on several important factors. So number one is relationship between speakers. So how close or formal the relationship is affect how we talk. Like for example, if people are equals or friends, the language is more relaxed or more casual. And if one person has authority, like a boss or teacher, the language they use is more formal and respectful. And the number two is purpose of communication. So what you want to achieve influence the register. So if you're giving instructions, you might be clear and direct. And if you're persuading someone, you might use more polite and convincing language. Okay, so the third one is the setting or environment. The place or situation matters. So, at work, language tends to be more formal or consultative, and at home or when we're with friends, language is more usually casual or intimate. And the fourth one is topic and audience. So, what you talk about and who you talk to also shape your language. So, technical or serious topics often require formal or consultative registers. So, casual topic with friends allow informal language. So, we choose our language style based on who we're talking to, why we're talking, where we are, and what we're talking about. So, this helps us to communicate clearly and appropriately in different situations. So, that concludes all my report. Thank you for listening.